footballers out of Croke Park. Well, it finally happened yesterday as the Dubs headed to Nolan Park to face Laois. Let's see how it unfolded now with Porrick Lodge.
A proud night for the Ballymun Kickham's club with 4 players in the Dublin starting 15, including ace free-taker Dean Rock. Johnny Cooper has played for Dublin in Nolan Park before. That was in minor hurling 10 years ago. And in a late change, Paul Mannion comes in for Paul Flynn, who was injured in the warm-up. Former Aussie rules player Colin Begley is back in the side, having missed the Wicklow game through injury. And even though John O'Loughlin is selected at centre forward, he's expected to play much of his game around midfield. 10 years to the day since they last left Croke Park for a championship game. Dublin are on the road again, and we couldn't have asked for a better night for the 33rd championship game between Laois and Dublin. An early touch for Dean Rock, and that's a goal already. Well, can you believe that? We were wondering how long it would take Dublin to score their first goal of the championship. Approximately 10 seconds. Dean Rock, one man, anxious to make an impression, cutting his way in along the end line. Paul Cotter cut out there badly. The Laois corner back, and Dean Rock with the right foot gives Dublin the dream start. Some fans hadn't even taken their seats yet. Darren Strong playing the ball in towards Gary Walsh. Got a goal in the opening match of the championship against Wicklow. Eyeing up a score here to set Laois on their way, and they really needed that to settle them down. 4th minute point from the Ballylinan man, Walsh, will settle the Laois team. And here's James McCarthy playing it in towards Connolly, going for a second goal. Well, this is a calamitous start for Laois. Diarmuid Connolly tucking home a goal in the 5th minute. And Dublin are ruthless early on. So much good work in the build-up from McCarthy. Into Connolly, nobody near him, through the goalkeeper's legs. And the early indications are that we are on course for a demolition job here. Fenton, and who really caught the eye last year. It's Kevin McMenamin. He's continuing his run inside, but Connolly has it for the moment. He's had a couple of wayward efforts in the past short while, but he's found the range again. Diarmuid Connolly slotting over a point to extend Dublin's advantage. Ball dropping inside, Laois trying to get a hand to it. It's gone out wide. I'm not sure why all the boos are ringing around, but Michael Darragh Macaulay's sustained some sort of injury. Perhaps something happened off the ball. John O'Loughlin is protesting his innocence, frantically making his case to the referee. Laois certainly can't afford to lose a player at this juncture, but it's a red card for John O'Loughlin, 26 minutes in. As if things could not get any worse for Laois, they had lost a man. We can see on the left of the screen there a clash between the pair. There was certainly a coming together between the pair of them. And if a punch was thrown, the referee had no option but to give a red card. John Small powering his way up field for the Dubs. Paul Mannion out to collect. Connolly offering himself. Driving through, comes back out to Mannion once more. There's a little bit of space in the 45. The man there on his own is Kieran Kilkenny. Superb from Kilkenny. Appropriate that a man called Kilkenny scores in Kilkenny. And it's all Dublin now. Laois in a rare move forward with Conor Meredith. Meredith himself quickly takes the free in towards Damien O'Connor. O'Connor with a chance here. Penalty. Damien O'Connor taken down inside the square. It was a fairly clear-cut call for the referee to make. Johnny Cooper, the guilty party, as O'Connor went to ground. Paul Cahalan, a very talented soccer player. He's played in Scotland, he's played League of Ireland, and he faces up to Stephen Cluxton. sweetly struck goal for Laois from the spot from Paul Cahalane. It's not too often that Cluxton is beaten. He took it really well, fired it home, and Dublin's lead is reduced to 10 points. Niall Donoghue angling the ball across, but by weighted numbers, Dublin, you'd imagine, should be winning that. But here's that right for Laois. Chance of a goal. Oh, he buries it. How about that for a finish from Stephen Attright? Kingston slipping the ball into the wing back, and he fired it into the net. Cluxton beaten twice. Laois getting a nice little run together now. Brendan Quigley driving the ball in, broken down by Kingston. Here's a shot from Ross Munnelly. He's been one of the great warriors for Laois over the past decade or so. Dermot Connolly, nice ball out to his right to Brian Fenton. Cutting it inside. Here's O'Callaghan. Back to Kilkenny. And here's Dean Rock. Another score coming up for Dean Rock. He made that look so easy. A goal and 10 points for Dean Rock, doing his prospects of staying in the starting 15 no harm at all. Ball played in, chance for Dublin to finish it. Oh, a penalty is awarded. The second penalty of the match tonight, but it is Dublin's first. Con O'Callaghan denied the goal there. Dermot Connolly, one of the star performers for Dublin tonight, up against Brodie. Superb stop from the keeper. He's been under pressure all night, but he denied Connolly on that occasion. And the final whistle sounds at Nolan Park. A different venue, but the same outcome. A comfortable win for Dublin. A mini revival from Laois in the second half. But that storm was weathered, and at their ease, Dublin go into the semi-finals, extending their long winning sequence in the province. Full-time score, Dublin 221, Laois 210.
Great start and great team play by all concerned. A great finish by Dean Rock for the opening goal. And I think a very comprehensive first half performance. We expected Laois to come back hard at us, which they did in the second half. But I think we rallied well and closed the game out well.
We played a lot of good football in the second half. Our ball retention was good. Getting the ball successfully to the inside line was very difficult because they had a numerical advantage in there and they're all good defenders. But, you know, we gave a decent account of ourselves. It doesn't mean that we're happy to lose, but at least we're happy to come out of the game saying, OK, there are some green shoots maybe and that we can play ball.
All right, here's the Leinster draw. Dublin will now play Lowther Meath in the semi-final on the 26th of June. Kildare will play the winners of Westmeath and Offaly. Well, Tomas, you made the trip to Nolan Park. What did you make of it?
I thought it was brilliant to see, Des. It's great to see the Dubs out of Croke Park. I think the Dubs themselves actually enjoy going out of Croke Park, you know. The fans definitely enjoyed, you know, that they were thronged. There was a great atmosphere at the game. I kept my head down. I didn't want to bump into too many of them. But, no, look, the game went as was over. What Laois needed was a good start. And the Dubs had 2 goals banged in. Yeah. They improved in the second half. It was like we predicted. We weren't going to learn too much about Dublin, but all credit to Laois. They stuck to it in the second half. It wasn't one-way traffic we thought in the second half. They didn't roll over. Nicholas will be proud of his players. It's up to Laois now to come out and produce that in the qualifier rounds as well. But look, Dublin did what they had to do. It must be kind of awkward for Dublin because they're expected to wallop everybody, and even for the players to prepare themselves, they're not hiding to nothing, because if they play poorly it'll be thrown at them, and if they win it's expected. So look, the reality is that they won't have it too hard in Leinster, and it's a pity.
Yeah, and the Nolan Park thing was a success in your view?
It was a success. I mean, look, a lot of people say it should have been in Port Laois. It went to Nolan Park. I thought it was a complete success. The Dubs travelled in numbers, huge numbers, and as I said, I think they'd love to be on the road more often.
Take up that point, Brian, about Dublin, the no-win situation in a way. If they don't, what did you think of them in that first half going forward?
Yeah, I thought they were excellent in the first 10 minutes. Like after 20 minutes, the game was more or less dead and buried. But I think the biggest obstacle that faces Dublin this year is hunger. You know, you've already seen a few of the players, Paul Mannion last year, you've Rory O'Carroll this year, and Jack McCaffrey. They want to do all things outside of football. Now, the problem that faces Dublin is they're going to breeze through Leinster, and they're going to come in an All-Ireland quarter-final. Will they have the hunger? They obviously will feel they have the hunger, but it's not until you get hit by a big team that you realise that you haven't the hunger.
Did that happen to you, do you think?
Yeah, well, in 2003 and 2008 especially, when we won the All-Ireland, we tried to retain it, come back the following year. We felt that we were in good shape. And 2009 especially, we won Ulster, and then we were caught in the All-Ireland quarter-final. So it's not until you hit Croke Park that you're really tested. Do you have the hunger?
You think you're actually right.
Yeah,
and you think you've done the same
Yeah.
thing over and over again, and you think you're actually hungry, but it's not until after losing that you look back and say, no, we weren't at the races.
And the thing that probably benefited us was in Ulster, we could have been caught and then we could have been regrouped. You could have been caught by Cork in Munster, but Dublin, I don't think we'll be caught in Leinster.
Yeah, am I right, Tomas? Kerry did it once in your time. You retained it once, but you had to change your manager, is that right?
Yeah, I think that
Pat
helped.
O'Shea came in.
Pat O'Shea came in, Jack left, and I think the players might have felt that they had to prove themselves all over to a full management team again. I think that helped us. But it's really, really hard. We'd be in the same boat as Brian. We tried to do it so many times and we couldn't. You just that level of hunger is hard. That craziness is hard to find again.
Sure, I take your point, but what about the fact it could be said that Dublin, have they this strength and depth and the young lads coming in?
Yeah, well,
like say David Byrne, Small, Con O'Callaghan, the younger lads.
There's so many players to bring in, and you know, I think they don't panic whenever they lost Rory O'Carroll or Jack McCaffrey. It's no big deal. Yes, you go and do your own thing, but we have men to come in and do a job. The likes of Paul Flynn, O'Callaghan, Costello, Andrews, all didn't play yesterday. So you know, they've plenty of strength and depth, and that should keep everybody on their toes.
Jim Gavin has a huge role to play as well, and to be fair to him, I think he's a very, very good manager. His record speaks for itself in terms of what he's won, but this would be the huge test and this would be the crowning glory if they were to put back to back. I think they're well capable of it. I think they have a team to do it.
All right then. Let's have a look back at yesterday then. And obviously Laois got cut out in the first 5 minutes for the 2 goals, and they subsequently changed their defensive.
Yeah, it surprised me, Des. They were caught for the 2 goals, 5 minutes and the 2 goals got in. What they needed was a good start, they didn't get it. Look, I suppose, and I never thought I'd hear myself saying this, they just didn't have enough defenders back. The 2 defenders came in there, Darren Strong and Gareth Dillon. Their men, Dean Rock and Kieran Kilkenny, were outside, so they couldn't actually come in on Michael Dara McCauley, and as it turned out, point over it. They were getting coursing through too easily in that first half, Des. And what surprised me so much was they came out in the second half and it was as if they were playing this style of defence for ages and ages. They had fellas back, but not only had they guys back, they were hunting in packs. You know, it was excellent. And also they moved the ball with pace out of defence. They were actually excellent. Mark Timmins was very, very tight on Bernard Brogan, had a brilliant, brilliant game. They were tenacious, they were hungry. I think that's the biggest thing. We were talking about having guys back there. It's one thing having guys back there. It's another thing what they're doing back there. You need that hunger. You need everybody on the one hymn sheet. And I think Laois did that in the second half. And it was a pity that they couldn't have a strong start. You know, I think
could that goal? I'm just wondering that could the goal after 15 seconds shell shock them a bit? And
possibly, but I think the biggest problem there is teams playing Dublin. You know, you're going to have to be fit, hungry, intelligent, skillful, organised, and you're going to have to be able to go for 70 minutes. And Laois possibly performed very well for maybe 20-25 minutes last night. And it's going to be a special team to knock these fellas off their perch.
All right. By the way, we're getting the Kerry man and the Tyrone man to tell us how to beat the Dubs later, or how they think to do. But we're going to go through it bit by bit in the meantime. Now, 3 of the Dublin forwards who started didn't score, if I'm correct. I think Bernard Brogan didn't score. Who else didn't score? Paul Flynn was replaced by Paul Mannion, and he didn't get a score either. Kevin McMenamin got a point. So, on one level, they did well in keeping some of the Dubs quiet. Dean Rock got the 1-10. And then you were very impressed with Kieran Kilkenny yet again as a half forward. Yeah, well, obviously when you look at the Dublin forward line, you initially think of Dermot Connolly, Brogan, Flynn. But over the past 2 years, I've been really impressed with this man, Kieran Kilkenny. He's come back from a really bad cruciate injury, which they say usually takes 2 years to come back from. But he has all the attributes of being the complete player. He has balance, he has accuracy, strength,
and speed. And no matter what position he gets in, he can use either foot, which makes it really hard for a defender to mark here. He turns and he slots it over with his left foot. And the next clip you'll see,
he always looks up as well, doesn't he?
And he finds so much space here. He's in the 45, and with his right foot this time, he knocks it over the bar. But
it's hard to stop that, isn't it?
It's not even his feet, it's his quick hands. One simple pass can just unlock a defence. Here he gets the ball, and he's 2 steps ahead of everybody else, and just creates so much for the Dublin forwards. Here he uses his strength and balance, and he knocks it over the bar with his right foot. Now, last night he had 24 possessions, he got 4 points from play, and he had numerous assists for Dublin.
Well, it's a serious thing. Well, that's maybe the youngsters we're talking about, because he is still very young. The Laois kickouts caught your attention, Brian?
Yeah, well, I think when you're going in against Dublin, you know, in the middle third, Dublin is very, very strong, very physically strong, and there's plenty of height in there. I would say when you're going out to play against them, you'd have to, 6 defenders would have to have plenty of movement and try and get a short kick out. I was very surprised that Laois' tactic was to just drive the ball out to Brendan Quigley every time, and every time I went out there, there seemed to be a Dublin man waiting on the break, or they got primary possession. But especially with Laois, who took in Shane Corn as a goalkeeping coach, I couldn't imagine that they'd just be trying to lump the ball out all the time. But it just never seemed to work for them. And you know, time after
Quigley all the time.
It was going to Quigley all the time. He wasn't competing for it at all. So I think that defensively there was no movement from the Laois defenders to try and find space.
They were probably had their hands full without. Now, listen, I mentioned earlier we're going to ask the Tyrone man that came in, how you think Dublin could be beaten, or what are the areas? So, Tomas, if they're to be beaten, where will it be?
If they're to be, it'll be a hard thing to beat Dublin, there's no doubt about it. Even if you do all the following, it'll still be very, very hard to do. I think you have to focus on Cluxton kickouts. You know, they gave, I don't know what Laois were doing there, they weren't giving them the kick out, but Donny Kingston was split between 2 men here. They won every single kick out that Cluxton had, they won it last night. Once, and this is it here, the ref stopped the game and it gave actually Cluxton had to kick it out between 2, and even at that Michael Dara won this one as well. That was the only one that was put up for 50-50. You know, you have to make them think. Another way, I suppose, is just running at them, quick ball, move it through the lines as quick as you can. Gary Walsh kicked a great score here, and you know,
by taking on the defenders.
By taking on defenders and just moving it quickly. There was a 1-2 here again. John O'Loughlin and Colin Begley, and you know, even though there were plenty of dubs back, and look, 'tisn't often, maybe most times the dubs could actually stop you here. Running at them, you have to focus in on Cluxton. And look, I suppose when you think about it, last night Donny Kingston proved nearly every ball that went into the full forward line he caused trouble. You know, Stephen Artry got a brilliant goal, came from Donny Kingston. It is an area, look, that teams will be looking at. Not everybody has a Donny Kingston. He's a very, very capable footballer, but he caused havoc inside there. Ross Munnelly kicking over here. Beating the Dubs isn't going to be easy, Des, but I do think of all the players they have, Cluxton is the key to it. I think, you see, what was happening was Cluxton was actually placing the ball. If Laois kicked a wide or a point, Cluxton was actually running for a ball, placing it, and as that ball was going wide, the Dublin defenders were making themselves available. They don't have to kill themselves by trying to force a kick out. They don't have to kill themselves fighting for it in the middle field. They have possession and they're so comfortable. They have such pace. They're running it. It's brilliant to watch. It's absolutely amazing to see them in their pomp. You know, but
their defence
at the moment,
is the opposite to what you were pointing at.
Well, at the moment, from what we've seen, we haven't seen Mayo clicking yet. We haven't seen Kerry clicking yet. And Tyrone look like a team that plays similarly to Donegal. Dublin did suffer when that blanket defence was in there today. And the way Tyrone, you need a special type of a team to beat them, and you need a team that will go the 75 minutes with them.
I think a disappointing thing so far in the championship is that none of the big teams have played anybody of any importance, and they don't know how good they are really. Yesterday was just another example. You know, the game was over after 20 minutes.
It just goes to show, Des, you know, you saw the hurling there today, and inside in Croke Park, and what it meant to Louth and these teams winning above there. If we had a system like you saw Down today, and it's not good for Down football to get a hammering like that above an Ulster. And why can't the footballing counties, the weaker counties, buy into a situation where they can promote themselves and they can get better and they can have winning in Croke Park? I just think our football format needs to be changed. We're getting no matches until August. You're not going to get a good. You'll get a couple in Ulster, possibly one in Connacht, but the quality isn't there at the moment.
Just before we leave it, the red card last night, there can be no complaints about it, can there, Brian?
No, I think yes. Michael Dara stepped across John O'Loughlin, stopped him from running, but I don't really think that means you take the law in your own hands, and John O'Loughlin definitely struck out and deserves a red card. And I think he was angry when it happened, but I think when he got up this morning, he seen what happened, he realised he was justified.
It was one of the greatest of all times, Muhammad Ali, one of my heroes. He would have been proud of that left hook. It was a haymaker.
All right, okay. Well, on that note, that's about it for tonight. My thanks to Brian and Tomas for their company, and thank you for joining us. We'll be back at the same time next Sunday. Remember, we're on RT1 after the 9 o'clock news. Until then, though, from all of the team here, enjoy your bank holiday. Bye-bye.